Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a little 5-10 minute video on the current state of Maladath, which is a anniversary server on World of Warcraft. Maybe a little bit of its history and where we're sitting now. I think this is important because it comes from an Australian or OCE specific view on World of Warcraft that I don't see too much. I guess, and I've got a few dot points, so don't mind if I'm reading off the other screen because there's actually a fair amount to cover. I think as a background, anniversary servers released in November 2024. These were the fresh servers that were rolling out, and it was assumed that these servers are probably going to roll through the first 3 expansions. We've got Classic Era, you've got TBC, and you've got Wrath of the Lich King, and then whether or not they just roll through them over and over again, or, evidently Classic Plus will release after that, I don't know. Probably not. I'm not quite hopeful on that. I think this is just how they'll do it repeatedly, because we all go back to it anyway. Anyway, enough about Classic Plus. When this started, Maladath wasn't actually part of that plan. Maladath was literally created 24 hours before the release. Blizzard were actively worried and verbally said that we're uncertain of the future of OCE because it never really has thrived in the past. So that means, right, that all the Aussies trying to prepare on other servers, whether they're NA, EU, etc., then had to quickly re-repair for Maladath because they're like, okay, lower ping, we're just going to do that long term. There was an early population crisis, right? So already there was lower population in OCE. That's very common. Very, very common. However, when you're building your player base or your toons, you want longevity, and this is what the big crisis is. People want longevity. People want to know that what they're getting into is going to be worthwhile long term, and they're not wasting their time. And their time is equal to what's popular. So a lot of people in the early phases would log on to Maladath, and it was just, in the chat, it was just constant dead server, just already kind of hating on it and giving the idea that this server was going to fail. And how would they know? It just started, right? So they're already not really believing in it. Anyway, I guess around the start of first few months, the population probably dropped to 1,000 player base, which is not ideal. And the server Maladath originally started on 3 layers, so 1,000 people split up between 3 layers. It was like you're playing Classic Era. It was a vicious cycle, right? So players, players would reach level 30. They ended up, they can't find dungeons, and they quit to transfer, or there was low population, there was longer queue times, and more players leave. Community shrinks, it's harder to find groups, and then there's, further exodus of the population. I think when we actually look at Maladath's ranking, Maladath sits at the lowest rank in anniversary servers. It has an average population of 1,000 people, which is extremely low compared to other like EU servers, which is 6,000 to 10,000 plus population. So Maladath is extremely isolated at the bottom. I think there's a lot of dilemmas with this. So if I'm playing on Maladath, and I'm really big on ping, right? If I'm playing on Maladath, I'm getting between, what does it say now? 29 ms, 29 ping. What's more worth it to me? Do I go play on an American server with a higher population, with more groups, but 250 ping? Or do I want a good connection and a small niche community? I already know the answer to that. I want a good connection and a small niche community. that's not the case overall. The case overall is that people want longevity, people want high populations, people want to feel that they're in a world where they are seeing people interacting. This is what MMOs are, right? And my view is going to be completely different to each and other individual's view. Everyone will have a different take on this, and I think it's lovely. I love that. I love hearing different takes because this just adds into the discussion, right? I think, you know, and what I want to do is I just want to bring up a graph, so bear with me. I've created a few graphs currently on the state of Maladath over time. So you can see around where we started really quite busy. So we start around 8,500, dropping down to 6,200, all the way down to 3,000 in January. So over 3 months, we lost pretty much over half of the population. I mean, I get it. Like, it's the hype fresh, right? You want to be part of that experience. The initial part of a fresh server is absolutely amazing. It's the hype of a whole new journey. It's the hype of seeing hundreds of players in the starting area. Then, you know, when we get to February this year, we're at 2K, okay? We're at March 1,800 to where we are now, you know. It's probably around 1,000 right now. Now, I expect that to increase with TBC and the hype becoming towards that. It's going to go up again and down, up and down, up and down. It's like a stock market. Now, Maladath is ranked 17 out of 17, which is really low. And I think this is important to know for everyone else, like how someone on that server is feeling. So anyway, this might be a really good educational portion video. Now, regional comparisons. We're looking at the difference between Northern America, Europe, and Maladath, which is absolutely insane, right? So we've got around like 85,000 people in North America. Now, these are averages. These are also probably plus or minus 5K out. So don't, you know, religiously believe these numbers, but it gives you a really broad idea as to what we're looking at and the average state and average population difference between all these different server bases. And then we've got Oceanic Maladath. Oh, it's so low. But also, I really hope they keep it because, again, you know, retail Australian player base is quite high. So we won't be talking about that today. I won't go into weekly raiders. I don't really want to talk about that. But I want to go across like all anniversary servers. So what I find really important here is that's not the correct one. I did have a couple of... It might not have put it in here correctly. But again, I was just trying to find the difference between the anniversary servers across the population of all, but it would equal as low as well. I more just wanted to go through the population timeline. Again, you can see that massive decline and how low the numbers are right now. Now, like I said, I think the numbers are low because of a plethora of reasons. Like I said before, I think it was the hype of a new server initially. That brought a lot of people in. I think there was a really big confliction between population base, longevity, and I do think the community killed itself. Like, remember when I said before how in the early, well, when Maladath opened, there were people in the server saying dead server already. So I think they were almost adding to the suspicion, right? And making it a real thing. So I believe if people didn't really have that, now I know it's all just, you know, pulling someone's leg saying that kind of stuff, but I actually believe that led to the death of Maladath. It's unfortunate. I do hope that the server slowly builds in population again. I'm not too fussed because I honestly believe they'll keep Maladath. I don't think they're just going to merge it into another server because that's just going to cause mayhem. I don't think it takes it too much out of their server base just to keep an OCE up. But to be honest, there's a fair few active guilds. Like, I'm in one now. It's got a really active player base. I've always got people I got a dungeon with. I'm never really struggling to find a dungeon. It's just probably a little bit lower than others. But it'd be really interesting to see. I might do another one of these videos when we get closer to TPC and see any of the other changes in population, communities, and opinions when we get closer to that date. But yeah, leave your opinion in the comments. I'd really like to hear your experience if you're on Maladath. But also just generally with populations and how they might have changed with your different servers, whether you're EU or US base. If you're really interested, feel free to follow, comment, subscribe. I mainly stream on Kick as well, so that will be mainly on weekends. But if you want to follow me on YouTube as well, feel free to do so, because sometimes I'll multi-stream. But anyway, have a good rest of the weekend, guys. And yeah, we'll have more videos to follow soon. All right, cheers.